So we're back. Now the next topic we want to discuss, which we've also received a lot of feedback and comments on, is LDRs, or long distance relationships, as you might call it. I know for me, my opinion of a long distance relationship that I have about it is it can only work, and I think we both agree on this, it can only work if you communicate with each other, you know, set boundaries with each other, because you know, long distance relationship could be, what you think a long distance relationship is, like a state away or a city away?
I wouldn't necessarily say like a state away. I think
like
with
a town away or
long distance relationships, I think if it's not a place that you frequent, because you know sometimes people might work in one area and then they live in another area, maybe like a couple hours away, and so you can meet someone like in the city where you work, and that wouldn't be really long distance because you would be going there frequently. So I would think, say someone lives hours away, like 5 hours away, and that's not somewhere you could go on a daily basis, and maybe you don't see each other that often, so I would really consider that a long distance relationship.
So long distance relationships, they can work. We don't have experience with long distance relationships, but I know they can work if you communicate well with each other. A big con of a long distance relationship is if you're not being honest with each other. Like, you know, if the man is telling you, you know, he's in the house on the weekends, but he's really out at the clubs or partying, and that's not, he's lying, and that'll never work because you don't have trust. You can't trust. And, you know, vice versa for the females. If, you know, you saying you're in the house and you're out with your friends at the club and partying or around other men, you know, socializing, you know, it won't work in that case.
I definitely agree. I think the biggest thing in a long distance relationship, I think the biggest factors would be trust and then communication. If you're not communicating with someone when you don't really see them often, or some people will be in long distance relationships and maybe they see their mate once every few months, once every year. Like some people meet over the internet and they have never met and they've been communicating back and forth for a year, but I think it's just communication. If you don't live near someone, if you don't see them, and then you don't communicate with them, whether it's, you know, verbal communication, talking on the phone, text messaging, emails, you know, video chatting, if you don't do any of that, I really don't know how it's going to work. And if you don't trust the person,
that's more like a long distance friendship then. Yeah.
If you don't trust the person, I think it's just going to exacerbate the situation, because if you already don't really see that person and then you don't trust them, they're telling you they're doing one thing and you're thinking they're doing something different, it's just really not going to work. It's really going to play with your mind, and you're going to be constantly calling that person, trying to see where they are. It's really going to put a strain on the relationship if you don't trust that person, and then there's lots of distance between you.
I mean, we all seen the shows, the MTV shows.
Yeah, True Life
from a long distance relationship. You've seen the effects of a bad long distance relationship. It's just trust and communication.
Yeah.
And love. You know, goes back to our first video.
TLC.
The TLC factor.
But I think that it can definitely work. Like any relationship, you're going to have to just work at it and build a strong foundation. You're just going to have to work a little bit harder, since, you know, you don't get to be around that person much, or you don't see them much, so you're really going to have to work at it to get to know each other and build a strong relationship. I feel like as long as you're honest with your partner, and things can work. And if you set up the boundaries and say, okay, well, what are you going to be doing? Like, are you going to be having friends of the opposite sex? Are you going to be hanging out with people? Are you going to be partying? And if going out, just create your boundaries.
Set your boundaries up, and then it's okay. If he says, fine, go out with your friends, have a good time, then do it. If you say go have a good time with your friends, let him know that he can go out to the clubs and everything, then that's fine, because y'all said it's equal. You can't have one doing one thing and another, and I can't tell you not to go, and I'm in the club. Like, it's not going to work like that. And another aspect of a long distance relationship is our soldiers over fighting a war right now, which we appreciate everything that you're doing for this country. That's a long distance relationship still. They're tours, they're doing year tours, 2-year tours.
Yeah.
You got to stay strong in those relationships as well, because that's still a long distance relationship.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example, because a lot of times the soldiers will leave behind their wives, their husbands, their children. So you definitely want to communicate as much as possible. I know in some situations you might not be able to talk on the phone much, but I know that this is the digital age, but something like a letter is something that's very wonderful. It's a great way to communicate, because a letter is something that you can go back to. A phone call, you can't go back to a phone call and say, oh, I'm going to replay what we talked about. But writing letters is something that's wonderful. You can send letters to each other, and whenever you feel lonely and you're missing your partner, you can go back to those letters or those cards, and I think that that's something that's wonderful to do, just writing letters and making sure that you keep the lines of communication open, you stay honest.
So especially with the soldiers over there, you got to keep their spirits alive. So a letter would do it for them. Just keep their spirits alive, keep their morale up so they can return home safely.
Exactly. So I definitely feel like long distance relationships can work for people, as long as you're putting the work into it and you're keeping the lines of communication open, and that you're being honest with your partner, and that you trust them and they're able to trust you. So we would love to hear you guys' feedback. If you've been in a long distance relationship, just comment below and let us know about your thoughts and your experiences.
Did it work? Did it not work? Why and why not?
And just let us know your opinion about this subject.
Okay.
So, thank you for joining us again, and until the next video, bye.
We salute.
And we salute our troops that are fighting. Thank you guys, and we will keep you in our prayers. So, return home safe. Bye.